You know how sometimes you just want to understand something properly, but without spending ages digging through information.
Yeah, you want the core ideas, the important stuff, quickly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's what we do here.
Yeah.
Welcome to the deep dive. We take interesting sources, break them down, and pull out the key insights for you.
Think of it as your shortcut to getting up to speed. You bring the interest, we bring the distilled knowledge.
Okay, so today we're looking at cricket, but maybe from a slightly different perspective. We've got this recent interview from the Times of India with former Indian cricketer Yuvraj Singh.
Mm-hmm.
And he's talking quite openly about his upbringing, his father, and how all that is kind of shaping how he parents his own kids now.
Right. So our mission, if you like, for this deep dive is to really unpack that relationship between Yuvraj and his father, Yograj Singh.
How it shaped his, incredible career.
For sure. And maybe even more interestingly now, how those experiences are playing into how he's raising his own son.
Okay, let's get into it. The article kicks off with Yuvraj acknowledging his father's training methods. Pretty intense stuff by the sounds of it.
Oh, definitely. But he credits it for his success, doesn't he? Playing for India at 18. That's huge.
It really is. And he actually says, let me find the quote, "I was pushed a lot, but that is why I started playing for India when I was just 18.
So a very clear link there. He sees the cause and effect. Intense push equals early success. You see that sometimes in, high-performance fields. That early focused pressure can really accelerate things.
Yeah, it sounds like his dad, Yograj Singh, had a very specific goal for him. And the article uses the word harsh to describe his approach to making it happen.
Harsh. That's a strong word.
It is. And Yuvraj himself admits it wasn't, always easy to take. He talks about having mixed feelings about it all.
Well, that makes sense, doesn't it? On one hand, you have the amazing career, the results are undeniable. But on the other hand, he explicitly says there were times he didn't like it. It brings up that classic tension, pushing for greatness versus the actual lived experience of being a kid under that pressure.
Yeah, it makes you wonder how he looks back on it now. With the benefit of hindsight and success, did success kind of soften the memory?
That's a really interesting psychological point, actually, how we reframe things later. But the article then sort of pivots to the impact on the relationship, the father-son bond during those years.
Right, because all that focus on cricket, all that pressure, it seems it created a bit of distance between them.
Yeah, the article suggests it wasn't always a very warm relationship, constant pressure to meet these high expectations.
And that really leads into why he's apparently so focused on doing things differently with his own son, or Ryan.
Exactly. He seems quite determined to forge a different kind of path there. He talks about wanting a nurturing and friendly bond.
Building memories that aren't just about cricket practice.
Yeah, there's that really powerful quote in there. With my father, it was always about cricket. I don't want to be a coach to my kids. I want to be a dad.
Wow.
And he adds, the things I couldn't do with my dad, I now do with my son. That says a lot, doesn't it, about his priorities now?
It really does. It's like a conscious effort to break a cycle, almost.
Mm-hmm. You see that sometimes people reacting to their own upbringing by choosing the opposite approach.
Now, his mother, Shabnam Singh, she also offers some thoughts in the interview, which has another interesting layer.
Oh, yeah. What did she say?
Well, she mentioned that despite how tough the training was, grueling practice, she called it Yuvraj apparently never complained.
Really? Never. That's quite something. Maybe resilience, or maybe he just sort of accepted it as, the way things were.
Could be. It adds a bit of complexity to his didn't like it comment, perhaps.
It's true.
And she also shared this lighter story, a bit of an anecdote about him being mischievous as a kid.
Ah.
Apparently, he used to make prank calls, even pretended to be a police officer once.
No way.
Yeah. She said something like, the first person he makes a fool out of is me, and every time I get taken in.
Huh. That's great. It's good to hear those bits, isn't it? Reminds you he was still a kid doing normal kid stuff alongside the intense training.
Exactly. It fleshes out the picture beyond just the cricketer.
Gives him more dimension.
The article also notes that the relationship between Yuvraj and his father has been a subject of public interest for a while, especially maybe after Yuvraj retired in 2019.
That makes sense. High-profile athlete, famous father who was also a cricketer. People are naturally curious about those dynamics, especially when there are hints of, tension or complexity.
And it mentions that Yograj Singh himself has spoken about it before to PTI, the news agency. He sort of explained his tough love approach.
Ah, okay. What was his reasoning?
It seems he was driven by this really strong desire to prove a point through Yuvraj's success. But he also apparently expressed gratitude for having Yuvraj as a son and
Oh.
hoped for like mutual understanding eventually.
So, from his perspective, the toughness came from a place of ambition, maybe even a desire for vindication through his son. And that hope for understanding, it suggests he knew it wasn't always easy between them.
Yeah, it gives us a glimpse into his side of things.
Hmm.
But the good news, according to the article, is that things did improve.
Oh, good. How so?
He says that before Yuvraj retired, they finally had a long overdue heart-to-heart conversation.
Ah, that's significant.
Yeah, and apparently that talk brought Yuvraj a sense of clarity and closure.
That's really positive to hear, that even after all those years and maybe the difficulties, they could connect and find some peace with it. Closure is important.
Definitely. So if we kind of wrap this up, what this deep dive shows us based on this Times of India piece is this really complex picture.
Yeah, you've got the strict father, the intense training, undeniably playing a part in huge success.
Right, playing for India at 18.
But it came at a cost to the personal relationship, at least for a long time.
Mm-hmm. And now we see Yuvraj consciously taking a different road with his own son,
Mm-hmm.
prioritizing that nurturing connection.
Absolutely. It really highlights those big themes, doesn't it? Parental influence, ambition, how family bonds can change and evolve. It's a fascinating case study, really.
It is, and it leaves you thinking, doesn't it?
Yeah.
When you look at Yuvraj's story, how do different ways of guiding someone, whether it's your kid or someone you mentor, actually shape their life and their own future relationships?
Yeah, what's the right balance between pushing for achievement, which clearly can work on some level,
Right.
and making sure you're fostering a supportive, fundamentally kind environment?
Yeah.
Where's the line?
Exactly. It's not always straightforward, is it?
Yeah.
Definitely something to mull over.